I'd like to call this meeting to order. First order on the agenda, roll call. Will you please call your name?
Erasmo Villarreal,
Roberto Rodriguez,
Lalo Uribe,
Fred Villarreal.
Joe Lopez.
And I'm Minidora Van Haynes. Thank you, we have a quorum. Okay, first order of business is public comments. Did anyone sign up for public comments?
At this time, we have no comments.
Thank you. You have informational items, the 2013 bond construction program update. Mr. Langel?
Yes, good evening, Madam Chair, members of the Bond Advisory Committee, Superintendent Gonzalez, members of the audience. Mr. Alanis had to be out today, so I will be making the progress report presentation on his behalf. So at this time, we do have the two major middle school projects out of the three that were part of the bond program are still ongoing. Ricardo Molina Middle School and Juan Roberto Ramirez Middle School more recently started. Let's go to the next. The first presentation that we have is for
This was the next page.
right. That just shows the overall state of those two projects. As you can see, the Ricardo Molina's at 80% complete. We still have a completion date, substantial date of March 15, 2022. We will be receiving furniture and equipment between April and May and start the operations getting ready to open August 2022. Juan Roberto Ramirez Middle School that started this summer, it's moving along very well, and you'll see some of the progress report. It's at 10% completion, and we're still looking at May 15, 2023. So far, and one more month, we have not had any time extensions, for the record on that too. So it takes us to the more detailed report that Mr. Alanis puts together and his staff for Ricardo Molina Middle School. So as you can see, on site work overall, it's being completed very in accordance with specifications in a very prompt, very brisk pace. The progress, of course, at 80%, 90 days of extensions on this particular Molina Middle School on Cuatro Vientos. But like I mentioned, we're still looking at March 15, 2022. We're able to make up some of that time. And the report submitted by Munoz Architects, you can see the overall view of the campus on the first photograph. You can appreciate more like the building is starting to take shape, very similar to our first middle school, but different colors. But it's, again, a prototypical design that's proven to be very effective. And another view from the west-south perspective. Other photos of looking at the academic wings, moving along really well, very nice colors. The brickwork pretty much completed on that section. And then looking north towards the campus on the rear part of the facility. And we got some more photographs to give you an idea and a concept of how the campus will actually look in the entire area. That's the front entry. And then we're looking at some of the student drop-off areas. Photos 7 and 8. Number 8, a little more of the internal view of the mall area, already being under construction with the finishes. The library, cafeteria. As you see, most of the components are in place, mechanical, electrical. We're running already the network infrastructure, working together with instructional technology and other contractors. And the kitchen area, all the equipment is actually already in place. As far as the walk-in coolers and freezers, we've got all the equipment in storage, and as soon as the electrical is completed, they'll be installing it next, probably early January. And some of the serving line areas are also already, the rough-in is completed. The gym, wood floor, as you see there, is already completed. They're just sanding and going through the whole process of doing the coat and the applications of the varnish. And then some student toilet rooms, the science classroom, also all the long lead items are already installed. And just typical classrooms, as you notice, also in the previous photo, some of the lab floors, as well as in the classrooms, they're covered with heavy-duty plastic visqueen to protect the floors from contractors that are still going in there, some of the subcontractors finalizing the network or electrical installations. So every room is covered for protection. Any questions on that first campus? Moving along to the second middle school that we started back in June. Thank you. Okay. So there we are on 10%, 0 days of extension. Of course, we just started 5-6 months ago, but moving along really well. We still have the same date as was in the contract for May 15, 2023. Again, the architect's report from Randy Hollis, just mentioning that the select field has been completed for area A and D, and as well as B and C is being installed. You see some of the photos. I know they're not very glamorous photos, it's just site work, but those are very critical phases of the construction to ensure that it's a proper building, set up the right proper elevations, that everything is in good place for a proper foundation to be built over that. You can see, for example, in photo number 2, how level and well compacted the terrain has been developed. We brought in 4 to 5 feet of very good quality select fill. Some of it was from within the site to ensure by the geotechnical engineers that it meets all the specifications. Actually, the engineers come from San Antonio to ensure that they inspect that soil characteristics. They sample it constantly every week to ensure that contractors continue meeting the specifications. Overview of some of the other areas. You see the equipment still working. There's substantial amount of earthwork. We've been really working since July. They're about finished with the site work. We anticipate getting a building permit, an actual construction, because we did get a permit to expedite the process and save time and money while the property is being platted to start construction. It's one of the benefits of this project doing design build. You can build the site work, we know the prototype, while the rest of the plans are completed, we get a building permit, and we're platting the property. So everything is being concurrently. We have been told by the city, Laredo Department, Planning Department, the plat was approved, and we're gonna take it to the official planning and zoning meeting next week, I believe, to get it formally approved, and then we should get a building permit this month of December. And that will allow the contractor to start proceeding with utility work, foundation work, and so on and so forth, right on the proper schedule, so we don't lose any time. And that's all I have. Any questions on this project?
Thank you.
Good.
The bond construction program update, please.
Yes, Madam Chair, and members of the committee, Mr. Gonzalez. The Business and Finance put these numbers together. Obviously, since we just met last month, there's been minor changes to it. I believe we paid $147,000 in POs, or maybe a few little reclassification and expenditures. So we're still looking at the original issue of $408.7 million. We've spent and encumbered $386.2 million. When you go to the interest that we've earned, we're at 413.6 or 0.7 million available, and we've already encumbered and spent 390.3 million of that. So it leaves a remaining balance of $23,390,621, and we're roughly at about 94.35% spent or encumbered.
Wow.
If anybody has any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for everybody's guidance, helping us get here. Okay, action items?
Sam, I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Real quick on going back to the grand total sheet.
Yes, sir.
Where you see the 23.3 million left over, is that including or not including the action item here that we're looking at 19
It's
million?
not including.
So okay, I got you.
The action item will encumber some of this money.
Okay, thank you, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Okay, approval of award of GMP, guaranteed maximum price for design and construction of replacement school for Clark Elementary.
Good evening, Bond Oversight Committee Superintendent Gonzalez and staff. The recommendation tonight is to approve the guaranteed maximum price submitted by Line Decker Construction for the design and construction of the replacement school of Clark Elementary in the amount of $19,027,517, which includes a construction contingency allowance amount for district use only of $400,000. This will be the last elementary school built with the 2003 bond funds. And we have a quick PowerPoint presentation that Mr. Rangel will go over with you in a minute. Can you go to them, or do I do it here?
Do we have that PowerPoint?
No, it's, I think attached.
Oh, it's gonna be at the bottom?
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
There we
We
go.
can do that first.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. So, yes, I mean, tonight we bring to the Bond Oversight Committee this final project. It's one of the two replacement campuses. Salinas Elementary School has been completed, and now this is the last one. We do have a very detailed on the GMP to back up this number on actual costs submitted by the contractor, and I believe it's in your packet. If you go to the next slide, just to give you an idea of the final floor plan and site plan. There you go. Right. So this is what was finalized in meetings with the campus administrators, with curriculum and instruction, and the architect team and the contractor. So this, as we mentioned at the last bond oversight meeting, we're keeping the same concept on the prototype that we built the 5 new elementary schools, including the one at Salinas, with the exception of this Clark Elementary, because of the attendance boundary. It's a smaller campus, less classrooms, but all the other amenities, as you see that highlighted there in yellow, the cafeteria, the library, the gymnasium, the nurse clinic, administrative areas, all those support that we call it administrative library, gym, and cafeteria, all the support, they remain the same size. Whether they're going to serve 900 students like at San Isidro Elementary School or Salinas Elementary, or in this particular case, 450 to 500 students. The difference is the amount of classrooms. Instead of having 42 to 43 campuses, classrooms like the other 5 campuses, we have 27 general academic classrooms. That includes the pre-kinder, kinder that are on the main entrance, which, as you notice, have their student restrooms in every classroom. The other item is specialty classrooms, special ed, which are like in a kind of like a pink color. I told them to use maroon, but somehow it didn't come out. Sorry, son. But it's as close as they could get it. But those, see there that we do have the 2, even though it's less population that is projected, about half the typical. They do have 2 special ed units at this time at the existing Clark Elementary School. And it's very good support for the community. So we are maintaining those 2 self-contained special ed FLS units, SLC unit, for our special populations. Very, very important that we address their needs. And then on the computer classrooms, what used to be computer classrooms, this area here in blue, as well as this other area, based on what curriculum instruction tells us, now that every student has a Chromebook or computers, the education in the typical old-fashioned computer lab, where they would go to a room and get in front of a computer, is really no longer the model that is being used. But we wanted to keep those areas within the entire, because it works really well for the design. If we start taking too many areas, the metal building, everything would change dramatically. So in order to save on engineering fees and construction fees, we maintain the spaces, we left them there. And it's available for the principal. They always say they need more workrooms for teachers, for staff development, conference rooms, or it can even be used for staff restrooms in the future if we need to grow. But the area is here, and as well as here. But you'll notice it doesn't have the computer stations all the way around. But that's based on the instructional, educational specifications. I think it's very creative to be able to use that space to make it like a multi-purpose room. We did maintain the courtyard, which is based on the 5 elementaries and previous 10 elementary schools when we use this prototype. It's a very effective use of the area for outside classroom, the amphitheater. Teachers really like, especially now with the pandemic and recommendations to go out more in the outside with more fresh air. They go out there, the students, they have class, lectures, they have events, special
Ceremonies.
they actually can use it for ceremonies, for functions. It's a very nice courtyard. And we still maintain the fact about the security, which I know parents have always expressed that safety and security as their number one goal when we design the school, that students are enclosed in an area with a teacher. They're safe from any intruder or access from either the back part. That's why we have a corridor there. In the previous design we had given you, it was kind of like an open area, but now it's totally secure. It's just a brick enclosed hallway corridor with surveillance systems, everything, so nobody can really get into there. But that's to communicate between the gym, hallway, and these classrooms, and the cafeteria, and the science classroom, which is this room right here. Because these are some of the early childhood, kinder, pre-kinder, first, second. These are the upper grade level, fourth, fifth. So they have more. They need to have more access to the science classroom, and also to have access to the cafeteria from the gym or vice versa. So you notice the total area is about 87,000 square feet versus 110,000 for the previous prototype. Next. Now this is a very interesting site plan because it's a difficult location. As you know, I mean, Hillside and Clark Middle, where it's currently located, I mean, it's a very high traffic area on the south part over here by, this thing shows it right there on Hillside. Mm-hmm. The entrance to Clark Middle is basically through from Hillside, and they go straight to this campus right here on Clark Middle. Right through here, it's a drop off. The entrance of Mayberry is strictly right now for school buses for Clark Middle. Now, traffic engineers, we met with them last week with the architects, Eric Quiroga, Juan Homero Sanchez, and Leindecker, to look at the overall traffic plan so we can go talk to the city about what would be serving the needs of the school and the community. So at this point, the site plan uses the space that is currently vacant north of Clark Middle. It fits very well. It leaves area for a very nice playground area. We probably will need a small little detention channel along this area. There is a channel right now that belongs here to the Mall del Norte. But we do have a loop. So as parents and teachers enter into this main driveway, we'll have enough space here for visitors. This is staff parking. So as community comes in here, they drop off, or if they continue to drop them off along this driveway. Also, at this point, they're having an entrance. It probably will be further south. I don't think that's going to happen, and the traffic engineer told us last week, but we didn't have enough time to change it. But because there's a traffic light, like very close to this, right there, on the west side. So having an entrance and exit right next to a traffic signal, it's probably not going to happen. But we're looking at that, and we do have a driveway here, so we may have to come in through here. And that creates another driveway for parents to drop off students on this section. The idea is to maintain the same concept that has been very successful. We need one entrance for our parents to a traffic loop, and one entrance for school buses or special ed buses on the front. We gotta separate them. So this is just preliminary, but it's not gonna affect the price. That's what's important. It's a guaranteed price, whether we change it or we add one way or another. It probably may be less because we may not need to do this long driveway on the west side. So the reason is that if we eliminate that, we're looking, or the traffic consultants are looking at possibly having the entrance that is currently at Clark Middle to continue this way and connect. Like parents going to Clark Elementary may also still come in. Right now they come in right here on Hillside. They may still come in, but at this point, if they go to Clark Middle, they just turn here. If they go to Clark Elementary, they continue straight they get into, actually they were gonna connect right here. We're also thinking of bringing school buses for Clark Middle in this area to eliminate this driveway for just buses for Clark Middle. So we're looking at all these options, and we're gonna meet with the city planning department to see what makes more sense, that it's traffic will flow more efficiently and fluently. Any questions on these plans?
What is the proposed completion?
We're looking at 2023, and that's on the next slide. I'll go into that a little bit on the presentation. So here's the guaranteed price. Right there, we're looking at this proposal. It's $19,027,000, like Ms. Jackson mentioned. It does include the contingency allowance. The cost per square foot, and we had to exclude the site work and off-site areas, as well as the architect fees, and equipment, like kitchen equipment, all those things, because the RS means, which we passed throughout, a copy to you all, the RS means, because every project is so different on site. One site may cost exorbitant amounts of money to bring in fill, if it's got very steep slopes, if the utilities have to be brought from half a mile away. It depends, rural areas. Keep in mind the RS means it's a national average. The entire country, it includes a lot of rural areas, small school districts, as well as very large districts. But that's why they have an adjustment factor for Laredo, Texas, because it's at 80, I believe it's on the third page, at 81.8%. And I highlighted for you all on the third page, whatever the RS means says that it's the average cost for a median school, we have to multiply times 81.8. It's not there, we passed this out handout. To give you an idea, because the prices in Laredo, as everybody knows, or South Texas, are about 20% according to RS means. They do a study. And they say, okay, you want an accurate number of what it costs? It's not going to cost the same as in Dallas, obviously. So you got to adjust, and they have it for every city in Texas. So when we looked at the cost of what Leyendecker is proposing, it comes up at $173 per square foot. It was important because we have to do our due diligence to ensure that the numbers that are being submitted are in line with the RS means averages, which is the cost index that is used by most school districts. I attended a few years ago a conference for TASBO, where the presenters were from the largest school district in Texas, Houston ISD and Cypress Fairbanks. I think they're the second or third largest. And Katy ISD, and they use the RS means for all their job order contracts. I mean, it's a very well respected, that's why we use it. And now the 2021 RS means, when you look at the number that, when on that first page, you look at what the total costs are for schools, it's section 23. So I'm gonna look up the third item on the copy. And you have to use median cost, which is $227 square foot. The reason you have to use median, and that's why we included the second page, any school that is 69,000 square feet or larger, they recommend you have to use a median. Obviously, if you are building an elementary school in a very small rural community with 30, 40,000 square feet for 200 students, it's not comparable to building a school that it's going to be 80,000, like in this case, 87,000 square feet. There's difference in pricing. So for that amount, that's why we won't go with the median. According to RS means, the cost that would be a reasonable price within the guidelines should be $182 a square foot. So the cost that was submitted by Leyendecker is about $9 below the RS means. And that tells us, they're being very competitive. However, they did make it clear that this is only good for 30 days, because prices are changing every week as they go along, and sometimes it's hard for them to have suppliers like on steel, lumber, concrete, and a lot of the equipment, plumbing. So the schedule here would be, if the committee recommends approval, the design development and the plans would be completed in about 3 more months, 2.5 months, by February 2022. Construction activities could potentially begin April of 2022 and completed by June of 2023. so that we can open this campus, in 2 years. So our recommendation again is to approve the GMP proposal for design construction of the Clark Elementary. And on the next slides, we do have some of the basic facts, like it's 540 student capacity, 27 classrooms, some of the things I already mentioned on the floor plan layout. I don't know if you have any questions at this time?
Let me ask you one that
Yes, sir.
just so you be prepared. I take it that all the construction people and equipment are gonna come in off the hillside into the back as opposed to using Mayberry, right?
We haven't really discussed that
Thinking out
yet.
loud that the neighborhood's
Right.
gonna, start getting up in arms. And that's why I'm asking you the question. I mean,
I think we have control of that, and working with a contractor, it probably would be more advisable, I agree, to bring in through Hillside, through our own
Yeah.
roads, concrete, all the noise
yeah.
equipment, heavy equipment, yes, sir. Any other questions?
Let me ask you something, I don't know.
Yes, sir.
The Molina School, what was the price per square foot on that one?
I would have to get back to you on that, I mean, I don't know.
I was just wondering because of all the increase in materials and stuff, I wonder how much the per square foot cost went up.
Don't quote me, but I want to say that it was about $170 to $175 square foot.
Okay, yeah.
Now, that campus, of course, is larger, and has a lot more finishes like plumbing because it has science labs. Like today, that building probably cost over $200 per foot, honestly. That was 2 years ago when you all approved it. There's a lot of expensive science, plumbing. I mean, the gymnasium has showers, lockers.
Everything is really skyrocketed in the
Yes.
last 2 years. Freight is.
Plumbing, materials, I know through maintenance and operations, we get a quote, HVAC equipment, the cost of Freon has gone up. I think it's worth more than gold now. If you can find it.
If you can find it, exactly, if
Right.
it's available.
Find it, yeah.
Any other questions, Madam Chair?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
If y'all don't have any more questions, then I'd like to entertain a motion for the approval of the award for a guaranteed maximum price for the design and construction of replacement school for Clark Elementary to Linedecker Construction in the amount of $19,027,517.
Can I ask Sam or Mr. Rangel a question? This school here was or was not included in the original,
The bond
the original
program?
package of the bond?
Yes, sir.
It was.
It's always been there from the beginning, Yeah, right, Sam? It's part of
Yes,
it.
it was.
And I really think, and that's why I asked Mr. Flores there the question if this included the school. I've said it time and again, I think we're in a really good situation here with the management, Mr. Gonzalez, of this bond package. And so kudos to this group and kudos to the administration for sticking to the plan, Mr. Rangel and the entire team. Madam Chair, if you don't mind, I'll make a recommendation that we approve the recommendation here to the Board of Trustees of the guaranteed maximum price for the design and construction of the new Clark Elementary School campus
In the amount of
in the amount of $19,027,517
Linedecker Construction.
to Linedecker Construction.
Second that one.
To include the $400,000 contingency.
Yes. Thank you. A second? There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is, do we need to set a date for our next committee meeting, or will we be advised depending on?
Most probably, Mr. Rangel, I don't know if there's anything major that needs to come to the committee in the future. Or we'll get with Mr. Perez. Mr. Perez might have some projects. Remember, he applied for E-rate with some of the bond money.
Correct.
So those projects will be coming as well. If you don't mind, I kind of figured this would be one of the last meetings that we'd have with such a major GMP. You've always seen my pretty face and Lida's pretty face. But I want to introduce two young ladies that have really worked behind the scenes to get us to this point. They chase the POs everywhere. They follow Mr. Rangel wherever he goes. We have our Irene in red, she's our construction accountant, senior accountant, and Rosa Cabello's the accounting manager. And without them, these numbers wouldn't be anywhere as nice as they are to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much.
They still don't get a meal though after the meeting.
Ay, qué malo.
You can have mine, just.
Were you talking to me?
Is there anything else that anyone would like to bring forward to this committee?
On behalf of CCYSD and the staff, I want to wish each and every one of you happy and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you. Then we stand adjourned.
Record time.